Hey there, legends! We finally got to play Stellar Blade, and wow, like really, wow! I'm hyped for the game, I'm hyped for the official release, and let me tell you why. Let's talk about the intro. The drop pods going down definitely gave me that vibe, that Helldivers vibe. And weirdly enough, that even hyped me even more. So all jokes aside, the intro is absolutely amazing. Like, really, really good. It clearly was a tutorial, I have to say, but it was kind of well incorporated that it didn't feel like you were in a tutorial. And that was because of the visuals. They were stunning. Now, I'm not just talking about Eve, but, damn, Eve. But it's actually what is being presented here in the intro. Just look at all that stuff exploding and Taki trying to show you where to go and all the fighting at the background. It's just amazing. And another thing that they did right here in the intro tutorial is establishing an important combat mechanic, and that is the parrying. Now, I love parrying, and if you don't know me, I really love parrying in games. Just like in Ghost of Tsushima, Rise of the Ronin, which is just out recently, all of those, the parrying system is just so good. But for me, the parrying system here kind of just steps up, simply because they added an audio cue whenever you do parry, but they also added in the controller. So that means you feel it, and that's why you get immersed in the combat. That's how I feel. Now, of course, at the end of the intro tutorial thing, we do have our first boss, or more like the tutorial boss. And hey, I don't think it was that easy, especially if you're new to this game, which I think is a good thing. Well, the game simply let us know that the enemies are no simple pushovers, right? Now, I'm not saying it's hard. It's not hard. It can be hard depending on the situation, but I think it's very doable, especially for new gamers and players that are new to this type of genre or this type of fighting or combat. But of course, if you just want to make it easy for you and focus on the story, the game also gives you that. I mean, I haven't tried the easy difficulty since I prefer a level of a challenge because, again, sense of accomplishment. Just like when you do your pairing, there is such a thing. Soundtrack, by the way, kind of reminds me of Scarlet Nexus. And I mean like the background music. It's something that I would like to listen to, like to hype me. At the same time, like when I do explorations, I would like that kind of music, and it hits. Now, it's just kind of hard for me to comment more since I'm not an expert on this, but like what I said, it just fits what the situation or scene is trying to convey. So like, for example, here, we're in just the camp, we can just chill and relax, and this music does it. Now, also, the sound effects. I love it. Especially the loot sound effects. It's different every time you pick one.
Do you think there's anything useful?
And makes you feel like you want to hoard all those loot and place them all on the floor and pick them all up to create a symphony of sound. That's how I feel. But it's not just that. The sound effects when you do your parrying, when you do your attacks, it's just so good. Next, let's talk about the visuals. So we are actually introduced to 3 characters, excluding the enemies in this demo, and my god, they all look gorgeous. Even the dude, seriously. Taki, even in her last scene, looks amazing. And just a side note here, I do think that we will still see her in the future. I don't know, I just have this gut feeling that we will do. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, please. If all the characters here have unique look, then I really have to say that this is pretty good. Because I love games where they don't just copy and paste the NPCs and just change their voice or change their clothes. I like it when everyone or everything is unique, even if they're not doing anything to progress the story. And of course, let's talk about Eve. So yeah, she is such a dream. Seriously, every inch of her, even the hair, which for some reason you can choose either short or long. I mean the ponytail, right? So why they included that in the game, I have no idea. Maybe because I get more visuals, like seeing the back and the butt. And there's good reason for that. There's a really good reason why they focused on the back, like making it really good. And just like what the CEO mentioned, because players are going to be seeing the back a lot of times, they made sure that it looks amazing. And because of that, they actually modeled the character Eve from a Korean model itself. And seriously, I saw the picture and wow. So for those people who say that this is not true, this is not a real female body, well, I guess you're definitely wrong. Dead wrong. So continuing with the visuals here, the transitions to cutscenes is actually pretty damn good. I liked it. It didn't feel disconnected for me. I was still immersed in whatever is transpiring in the scene. And look at the setting. It's an urban desolated place and it just looks amazing. The details on the wall, the destruction that you can see over there, even the water just looks amazing. But just with the animations, everything looks fine for me, except when you try to swing on the poles, it just kind of looked janky. Let's go to the wet part. And when I do mean wet, I mean the water. Yeah, the water looks amazing to me. The fact that there's a bit of distortion when you are under the water makes you feel like you're right down there with Eve. Creepy, but in a good way. All I'm saying is that it just immerses you, and I love that in a game. Also, if you can notice this, the background music slowly kind of fades out when you're under the water and then goes back in after some time when you're out. Just to add, of course, whenever you go out of the water, there's this water on the screen effect. So those subtle details just makes the game nice. As for the enemies, there seems to be a variety, and with what we get to see from the demo, we have minions, warriors, and elites. Now, for the elites part, I'm not sure if this includes the alpha nativas, but that we will see. Looking at this, there seems to be a lot. Of course, I do hope that the other enemies are not just a copy and paste of some of them with just some added attributes or affinity, like fire and poison, because having unique characters in your game should also warrant unique enemy types, right? So this now leads me to probably one of the big bosses of this game, the Alpha Nativa, who, or what I think is also sexy. And just like what I said, it's a variety. Of course, you need to have like big brutes, sexy harpies, and even creepy crawlies for your monsters. So the choice for these designs just makes it interesting and exciting. But she is definitely not our final boss in this demo. The final boss is actually this guy, Abaddon. Now, this is your typical monster. It's big, but it has its own uniqueness to it, which is good, by the way, because we want all the bosses to feel memorable. We want it to feel unique whenever we encounter them, so that whenever somebody asks, oh, we actually fought this guy, we beat him by using this and that. So Stellar Blade definitely went with the right direction in this aspect. Now, since we're talking about visuals, let's try to address the elephant in the room. Are the characters over-sexualized? For me, yes. And do I even care? No. Fuck no. This game is way more than that, I have to say. Okay, I am thrilled to see Eve and admire her for all the weird reasons exposed out there. But like what the devs and CEO mentioned, this is ideal. This game, this is a fantasy. Every now and then, we want to be in that fantasy world, and what do? We, of course, want to be overpowered. We want to be OP in all aspects, if not just some. All I'm saying here is we want to be the different versions of ourselves when we try to play games like this. And if it's not like us, we try to choose a character that we can constantly admire. At the end of it all, if we want this game, then we'll buy it. If you don't like Eve, then don't freaking buy it. Try other games instead. Another point is that this game isn't just about the looks. It has pretty good combat system too. So the combat, which I believe is a pretty big thing in this game, feels amazing and satisfying. As I mentioned before, parrying is worth learning, and it's an integral part of defeating enemies, especially in higher difficulties. Now, okay, parrying is not new in this type of games, but the inclusion of the sound on the controller as well as seeing the enemies getting staggered now just makes it feel right. The animations makes you feel that you are getting good. And to top it off, the combos are sick to look at and they're actually easy to execute. I mean, you just need to press 2 buttons. It's just the square and the triangle. It's easy and doable. So that means you'll be able to master this game, of course, with practice. But aside from that, there's also a lot of skills. Like seriously, you have this skill tree and you also have this hidden skill trees, which I do believe it's going to be unlocked once we progress throughout the story. For sure, one of them is going to be using the bot that you have as a gun, because I've seen that in some trailers. Another that I'm personally excited about is the ability to do assassinations. I mean, it's my thing. I'm not an expert at it, but I just love the animations, seeing enemies getting assassinated or in the receiving end of finishers. In the demo, there's only one that is kind of free for us, and that is the assault from above or the assassination from above, and it looks cool. Now I'm very, very excited and looking forward to see other types of animations when you do that to different kinds of enemies. But the question also is being asked here is, can we actually one-shot enemies now if we do that? Lastly, something that I want to mention here is the menu UI. It's kind of easy to understand. I definitely didn't feel bombarded with information with tags and all those, unlike some games. So I think the menu will still grow, but most likely with the story progression. So starting with the minimal tabs and of course all of these, it's a good way in easing us into the game. So this demo definitely did not disappoint. I went in excited just to feel how I would react to the game, and I ended up wanting more. So hyped. Anyways, so if you haven't pre-ordered yet, please do. There is less than a month before the game's official release upon the time this video was recorded. And again, I'm very, very hyped. And if you are as well, why not check out this video over here? If you're not, you can tell me in the comments below why and what you think about this game. By the way, I'm Dark, and I hope that I'll see you again next time.